Hi guys, my name is Akash and today our guest is Pooja Chauhan, who is the executive producer of Goldfish, which had its international premiere at Busan International Film Festival. Please do watch the whole video and subscribe to my channel. So ma'am, my first question is why you choose to become a producer, ma'am?
It's amazing because you already have two people. Um, from because of the project, I decided to become a producer. It's Ajji. I was Devashish's associate director on the project, and that was the project which was equivalent to an entire film school because it was such a difficult film to make and in such a small budget that we had line producers, executive producers just leaving the project. You know, like we had like a lot of people leaving the project because they thought that it's not going to be possible to make the film in the budget which we were given. And it's strange that just before I came on board on that project, I had left Bombay because I was kind of, trying to figure out, didn't want to do the usual stuff which was happening and really wanted to make something and invest or my time into something which I believed in. And then just before, like the last night, I met Devashish and at a friend's house and he told me that if he has a film and if he calls me to work on the project and that project was at G, will I come back to Bombay? And then he called me back in a couple of months and then I came back to Bombay to work on the project and I had joined as a director's associate as his associate director's assistant, not the associate director. It's just confusing terminology, but but yeah. So then I ended up making the budget because we had people coming and leaving the project, and we needed a budget to be made. And then ended up speaking to the people, hiring the team, negotiating the budgets with the HODs, and convince them to come. It was not convincing; was not required because Devashish's work is people know and people want to work with him. So it wasn't that difficult for me. But then I stayed on the project till the very end, submitting the project to film festivals, and this entire journey of the film kind of taught me the importance of a producer. And even before that, even though I mean I have assisted Nagesh Kuknoor, Abbas Starwala, with Dharma Productions, and um, so these people, but I always thought I was an enabler more than being a director. And after working on a G and my journey from being a director's assistant to becoming an associate director and a pseudo line producer on the project. It was just like you had to just do it. You don't expect for the credit, and you just indie projects are made like that. You have to wear multiple hats, and I realized that there's a very like requirement or necessity in a way where a producer who understands the direction as well and the vision of the director as well, and it's not just about business. And yes, that's also important, but somewhere like there was a gap which I felt while making the film because and for an independent project it's very very important to have a producer with you throughout the journey and on being involved, knowing the struggles of the project and then finding the creative solution to that. And somehow I think I learned all of that by being with Devashish. He's an amazing, amazing director, and I always say that he's actually producer's director because if whatever the stuff he has been given, and he finds a way to work around it. So that kind of inspired me to become a producer, and I decided, actually, right after that film, I decided that I wanted to go and study filmmaking. And I worked with, there was another film I worked on in the pre-production. That was Vasan Bala's Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota. Yeah, so I worked on that, and I think right after that film, I left to study film producing, and it was the germ was had kind of gotten into me when I was working on Ajji, and but in India at that time, becoming a producer, if you don't have the money, that's something which you always feel. So I also felt that, oh, I don't have the money. How am I going to become a producer? But um, my common sense told me that producing is not about having the money of your own, but to be able to get the money and managing the project. It's like a CEO of a company. So you become the CEO of the project and then you handle everything. And so I was like, okay, maybe I need to go and study professionally and see how, Then I went to New York and studied film producing course in New York Film Academy. And to my surprise, whatever they were teaching in the course, I had done all of that in Devashish's film. And so that's what I always say that, Ajji was a film school in itself. And, and how Devashish kind of like, worked and planned everything. And he's meticulous with the preparation for the project, even the journey of the project, and, the festival runs and all of that. And so it was literally his guidance, and we were kind of just, the people who were just supporting his vision. But it was that project which made me realize that, I would, I think I would be a, better off as a producer and not a director.
Okay. Ma'am, was there a point of time you wanted to become a filmmaker as well?
Actually, no. And I always used to feel conflicted because I have like all my friends were from the same industry, and everybody wanted to become a director. And I tried to write, and I was I'm still a terrible writer. and and I never enjoyed the process of writing. It's like it's just, it asks so much, and so I was always conflicted. I did think of becoming an editor, so I did edit it, and I enjoyed editing a lot. But a writer director, I never thought that I wanted to become one, even though I have directed a couple of things which I'm never gonna put out, never gonna know about. Nobody's gonna know about them. But no, no, and that was the conflict which kind of got clear. When I worked on Ajji, it's like, no, I'm a better enabler, and I think producing is what comes naturally to me.
Okay. And ma'am, what did you study like during your graduation days?
Oh, so I'm a chemistry honors graduate from Delhi University. And I've studied from Shah Rukh Khan's college, Hansraj. Yes, and I'm a topper. So I was a studious kid in my college time. Filmmaking just happened to me. I was supposed to be doing MBA, but I was looking for some part-time job, or while before the MBA classes began and before the admissions kind of started. And that's when I ended up working in a production house, I think 1947 production house. They used to make documentaries, and I was working on a documentary, I think, which never got made, on Rajendra Kumar at that time. And that's where first the germ of filmmaking got into me. And it was editing. Antara Lahari, she's a well-known editor now. She was working on that documentary, and I saw her do some editing with the footage and the clippings which we had seen, and I was like, my god, this is magic. How do you do that? And so then the director at that time, Vikram Srivastava, and who ended up becoming my mentor after that project. And with these people's guidance, I ended up taking admission in Sophia's social communication media. And I didn't go for my MBA. I went for the course, and I'm happy I did that. And after that, there has never been looking back. I have been working after that.
And ma'am, what was your parents' reaction?
Oh, controversial. No. No, my dad wasn't okay with it. He didn't understand for the longest time. Um, so it's a funny story actually. My dad said that he's not gonna pay for my college education because, it doesn't something which, so he thought I'll come back, but I didn't. I borrowed money from friends and I paid for my education. Vikram was the person who basically paid for my college fee, and then I just took help. And the Dimple, who was Rajendra Kumar's daughter, she became my local guardian for my college hostel. So that's where I stayed and just managed that 1 year. And yeah, so the people I met on that documentary project, they enabled me to go ahead and, study filmmaking. But my dad, after a point, kind of came around. But it took some time for him to understand that what I was doing. For him, I had वो बोलते हैं ना लड़की हाथ से निकल जाती है तो वो हो गया था.
Okay. And ma'am, how did you find your first job in film industry? Like, what was your first job?
It's very funny. Somebody called me, Shilpa. She was trying to call, my name is so common. She was trying to call another Pooja, and she ended up calling me. And then she was like, "Oh, if I have called you, if you want to have a job, why don't you just come and give an interview?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure, I'll come." So the other Pooja didn't get the job, I got the job. And I was working with Pankaj Saraswat. They were the creators of the Great Indian Laughter Challenge, and I got my first job in on a comedy show. I was working on the post production of Great Indian Laughter Challenge, and I was an intern on the show Has Baliye, where I met all these amazing people, couple Bharti and Sunil Grover, Gaurav Gera, and so all of them, like all the famous comedians now. And I was very very young at that time. So yeah, so that was my first job, and I started working. I remember May 20th was my last exam, and May 21st was my joining on the show. So I literally started working on the next day after my exam.
Okay, great. Ma'am, what is the job of a producer, ma'am, if you can tell in detail?
Um, Job of a producer is like I like to say the captain of the ship. It's the first one to come on board and the last one to leave. Because as I said earlier, that it's like a CEO of a project. That is my understanding of it. It's like you have multiple departments under you, and you have to overlook everything, and you have to um, look the long-term plan, because filmmaking is not just about making the film; it's about selling the film as well. And I'm very new, like really new. No, I have not produced too many projects. Couple of projects which I have, seen from start to end as a producer. Mostly short films, and I think two feature films from beginning, being a part of the production, and then being a part of the festival project, and now the distribution cycle as well. So somebody who manages the whole process of the filmmaking, and um, enabling the director, providing the atmosphere to the director for to deliver his vision. And I I think it's a mini marriage between the director and the producer. So a director needs a good producer, and a producer is nothing without his director. So for me, I feel that my strength comes how good my director becomes, how well known my director becomes, and that kind of, you know, um, works in my favor. So I like to say that a producer is as good as his director. That's my understanding of it, and that's why I'm like, it's very important for a producer to kind of choose the director, you know, they want to work with, and how that relationship kind of develops, because filmmaking is, it's literally a battle specifically for independent project, which you take in every new project you start with. And so you need to have the team who's going to be there, you know, with you at every stage of that battle. And yeah.
Okay. And ma'am, like, what is the difference between a associate director and AD?
Associate director and a Yeah. So associate director concept is a very Indian concept. This title doesn't exist in the international formats, but in India, an associate director is usually the right hand of the director. So because there are so many things going on a film set, the director needs, you know, his person to kind of go ahead and uh, prepare the next setups, or you know, before anything kind of reaches to the director, it filters out first at the stage of an associate director. So I would say that it's a role of like a um, it's a role which is a mix of a chief assistant director and a line producer. Like, you have to be on top of everything. You have to be on top of the creatives, you know, of your director's vision, and you also need to be in sync with the production. And because making sure that whatever the requirement of the project, of the scene, of the film on every day schedule, it's met. And associate director is usually heading that and taking care of he's basically a bridge between the chief assistant director, who's responsible for the scheduling, and a line producer who's responsible for the production of the film. So you need one person who knows that these two things are going hand in hand, because a chief assistant director is going to take care of his schedule, that you know, he needs to meet his schedule, that is his priority. And line producer is somebody who needs to provide the production requirement but also maintaining the budget. So an associate director is 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 in sync with all the departments and making sure that the schedule is being met, and there are no communication gaps between the production and the, you know, the direction team, basically.
Okay, okay. Ma'am, as a producer, like, what kind of scripts would you like to make?
What I would like to make. I think most of the projects which I have taken up, they are majorly character-driven projects, and I have, for me, human stories have been on the, which just naturally, just you know, I just get attracted towards them, and I feel that I feel connected to them. But I'm trying to play around with the genre, and you know, I'm trying to set up an animation film now, and trying to also go into the a bit of period drama, you know, web series and feature films, like that. But usually the subjects which I choose, they are mostly based on gender diversity, and women empowerment. These are the main topics which have been the center of you know, so identity. And identity could be related to anybody. Identity is actually one of the main theme, for me, which has been the common theme in all the projects which I have picked up till now.
Okay. And ma'am, if somebody wants to, like, if a filmmaker want to get producer, want to make a film produced by you, so how they can approach you, ma'am? Do they send you a script or shoot something in like?
So for me, it's important to, first of all, it's important to know the director, you know, and the background of the director and the work which they have done, previous work, short films I like to see, and then um, after that I read the script because for me it's important to understand the journey of my director, you know, till the stage where I'm like now I'll be meeting them. So for me, that's what I look for, and usually I think all my directors have kind of found me till now. I haven't, but I keep attending labs and where the people they pitch their projects and but somehow all the directors they had reached out to me over email, and I read everything whatever comes to me, and I might take some time, a lot of time to get back because I'm just myself. I don't have a team. I am very independent and a very very small producer. So most of the stuff I do on my own. But usually, yeah, people write to me, and if the sensibilities match and the value system match, then I I take conversations ahead. And if I feel that I'm not able to add any value to the project, then I like to tell that right, in the beginning. But for me to be able to read the script, it might take, a month or a month and a half, and depending on if I'm not filming anything. So, because again, it's just me, so I do take up a lot of other projects in order to, sustain myself as well. So sometimes it gets difficult to find that balance between my producing and the other projects, which either I'm line producing or I am filming or just taking care of a certain department for that particular project.
Okay. Okay. Ma'am, as a producer, like you have produced short film as well. Do you see there is a market in India for short film? Because I am able like short films are always for film festival only. Currently, the
Very difficult. In fact, I'm trying to set up another short film in the like now in the next 2 months, and um, unfortunately there is no market for short films, and because there is no revenue coming back for the short films. A short film is usually for the director because it kind of works as a profile and a pitch for the directors so that they can set up their feature films. But as a market, for unless like you package it in a that it's a 1 hour long content and you're making four short films, each short film is 15 minutes or 20 minutes, so then you are selling like an hour and a half long content to OTTs, or just above an hour long content. But otherwise it's very difficult to raise money for short films, and usually I think maximum short films get made by the friends and the your supporters who believe in a director's vision, and and then they want to invest some money, and then like you basically gather money from your friends, and then you go ahead and then you make that film.
and ma'am, what is the like average budget of a short film like you have
Oh,
produced?
it we don't have short films fund, but in the UK, so I'm based in London now, and so in UK there are short film funds. So BFI do have short film funds. So there are many other countries who give the short film funds for the directors of their country. But unfortunately, in India, we don't have. I think couple of festivals they do give out some money, and I think Apple is making short films with Mami right now. So there are different ways of which you will always have to be, innovative in finding those ways, how to get your short film sponsored. Budget varies. It totally depends on you. The first short film which I ever produced of Arun Fulara, Sunday, I think I only came on board towards the end of it during the post production of the film, and just to kind of help him, support him to complete the film and send it to the festivals. And that film is still traveling to festival. It's more than 70 plus festivals which it has traveled to. And so, and mostly, like, it depends what you want to make your short film in, and who's asking, who's willing to give you favors, and you're able to cut down on costs. So short films are, I'll say, even India than the feature films, because there is no revenue. So it's only your loved ones who can, and whatever you can afford to make a short film in.
Okay. Ma'am, you're a co-producer of Harami. So, what was your experience, I mean, that project?
It was good working with Sham, and I learned a lot because it was my first Indo-US co-production, and I only came on board on the second schedule of the film. And it's unfortunate that right after that, COVID happened. So the film kind of didn't travel much, but it had its world premiere in Busan. And yeah, so we are waiting for the film to come out. Still waiting.
And ma'am, it has a huge star like Imran Hashmi, if I'm
Yeah.
correct. So, ma'am, they, as a producer, like the most amount of money it takes on to get stars, or
I only came on board on the second schedule, and Imran, Sham had reached out to Imran, and he had brought him on board for the project. And so, again, the budgets and everything of a project, that completely depends on how your film is set up. Um, it's um, it's it's like, if it's a known actor, then of course, because it's a simple maths, because the person is also going to bring you the distributors, the name, the actor's name itself. And it's not necessarily that the maximum budget goes towards the actor, depending on who the actor is and where you want to place your project in the market. And so it depends on the project. Like, of course, if you are bringing, some really A-list actors, then those are different. They already have distributions in place, because they are usually made by the studios, and so studios crack those deals with the actors. They reach out to the actors, and yeah.
okay. Ma'am, you were an executive producer of Goldfish. So, first of all, ma'am, what does an executive producer do, and what was your experience in that?
The Goldfish was basically, I found the story, and I had taken an executive producer's credit, because that's the deal which I cracked with the financier who came on board with, in order to make the project. So I had found the project, and I had found the financier on the project. And after that, the whole execution of the project and sending the film to the festivals, that was entirely, like, I was looking after that. And yeah, and it was amazing. We were filming in pandemic, so we had to cancel first schedule of the film, and then go back to London in June. And so it was difficult in a way, um, to work. I think myself alone had gone through 4 to 5 quarantines while traveling back and forth from London. And so it was a very, very crucial time where, a lot of challenges which we faced, and we were not sure if we were able to, we will be able to pull it off. But then, just keeping the faith alive that no, we have to make it happen. And if however the challenges were coming, we just kept dealing with it one by one, all of us as a team. And yeah, and it was amazing. And so I had gone to London with the director, and then found the locations, found the team, figured, locked everybody, um, in the first go, and we were ready to shoot in January. And then we took a call that we couldn't film in January because um, it was too big a responsibility to bring the whole team. Like it was only 8 people who were traveling from India to make the film. We had hired the most of the people, the HODs from UK, and so yeah, it was a learning experience. I hadn't been to London before that, and it was my first time. I remember telling my dad that I'm feeling a bit uneasy when just before I was supposed to leave. And I never tell him that, like, okay, I'm feeling a bit uneasy and I'm scared. I was a bit scared before leaving for London because it was a big responsibility of setting up a whole project in a city where you have never been to, but you just have your conviction and you're just going with that. And but once I landed in London, um, it was just amazing. The people I met, and everybody is just so nice and so warm. And I will say that even it was even it was during pandemic, and I still felt the warmth and welcome from the people of of London. And that's what made the whole film, the neighborhood where we were filming. And it was just a very, very extremely amazing experience. The whole team, we were only 20 people in the whole team, and we made everything happen. I remember it was just like we were doing everything, whatever was coming our way. And you know so each department was helping the other department, and because it was such a small group of people who made the whole film, I mean, I'm still in touch with all those people. We've worked on so many other projects after that, and I was glad that I found that team. It was just amazing. Each HOD was really, really, really great. And it was actually the experience of working on Goldfish which stayed with them. And I remember, like, even on so many other projects where I used to be working with them, but in another capacity, like I would be handling the production. And then so many people would come and then say, "But Goldfish was special, that your production was special." So for me, that was like, oh, because we were very, very mindful, of everybody and everybody's little requirement, and um, the person where they were coming from. And we really, like, made decisions which are usually not taken on a film set. But for me as an individual, and when I had decided to become a film producer, that was of you know utmost importance. And that's exactly like I try to replicate in every project, which is my production, which I have control over. I try to do that. We replicated the same thing. We just shot last year, short film, The Lime Green Shirt. And we were just mindful, like, not having um, those small little plastic bottles, and controlling the fuel and all those decisions. And my line producer, Surbhi, she was, because she only had worked on big Bollywood budget projects, and it was the first project, independent projects. And then I come up with this plan, and then she's like, "But how are we going to do this?" And she's like, "Pooja, it's not going to be possible. I have never seen just 2 cars on a film set." I said, "First of all, we can't afford. Second of all, we need to take care of our carbon footprint." And during that time, it was like carbon footprint and making filmmaking, a green filmmaking, has become a mandate now. But during pandemic, it was, I mean, and for me, it was one of the things which I was very, very, wary of. So we ordered the bottles and stuff like that. So these small, small things, and whatever the food we were ordering, it was as per each, because we were only 20 of us, right? So it's easy to take care of your crew. It's easy to take care of. So we took care of their food habits, and small little things. If you have allergies, okay, so don't worry, we got you covered. And so these small, small, little things, made it a mandate. Nobody's gonna shout on the set. Because usually maintaining the energy of the set is very, very important. So had a full like a debriefing with the team, whosoever came on board, that it has to be a nice set. It has to be a set which is kind, a set where even if somebody makes a mistake, we deal with it and try to understand. So we had a couple of we I remember we broke the lens of the camera, and the camera team was, they were really, really nobody was telling that, and I was like, what happened? And then it's like, no, the camera dropped and it was just an accident. And so they thought, because it was, like you can't break the camera lens, that's the most expensive piece of equipment on a set. Then I was like, but it's nobody's fault, because everybody was giving their, so you can't doubt the intentions. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. We got insurance for that. So it will be covered. So, so it was, and I'm still connected to all the crew. We still keep chatting to the actors, and it was just an really, really amazing experience. And yeah.
Okay. And ma'am, is it screening anywhere right now?
It's almost had its festival run now. Amit, who's the financier and as the producer on the film, is trying to get the film out, distributed. But we are still talking to a couple of platforms, and but it still needs to be out, because it was still like till last month, I guess. It was it won awards. It was nominated at Filmfare Critics Choice Award. Deepthi ma'am won the best supporting at the Critics Choice awards. She won the best supporting actress. And yeah, so we are waiting. We are also waiting for the film to come out.
Okay. Ma'am, are you currently working on your future projects?
I am. There are a couple of projects, feature films to web series, one short film which I am trying to set up, and yeah, one of the project, Alive for Rose, which I'm working with Tarantantra Telefilms, to be directed by Kaushik Ray, and that project was selected in 2022 at NFDC co-production market. And so that's one of the project which is currently on on one of the priorities. Then there is another animation film, Mangal, which the my writer director was part of the Writers Inc. lab, which was today was their pitching session. It was one of the top 10 projects and there. So that's another animation film which I'm trying to set up. And yeah, there are a couple more projects which are still in development.
Okay. Okay. And ma'am, what are your favorite films and filmmakers now? If you could recommend some
I
favorite
did,
film, favorite films and filmmakers.
I was like, okay, it's not one person. It's so many people.
You can list them all, not more.
Have like a, I always feel a bit. Mm, I don't have one name. So skip that question. Let's move to the next one.
Okay. So, ma'am, if somebody wants to become a producer or filmmaker, like what advice would you give to them?
Ah, be absolutely sure of that you want to do this, because it's not going to be easy. It's going to ask everything out of your system to, to be present, and you will have to keep your conviction alive, and because your conviction is what is going to take you ahead. And like, be open to learning at each stage, be open to, you know, to hear feedback from people, and keeping your objectivity alive, that what is working, what is not working, and finding your tribe. It's very, very important. I don't think films cannot be made by one person. You need your tribe, you need your team, you need the people who believe in you, the people who will stand by you. And like, for me, Ajji, Goldfish, these are lime green shirt. Now Kaushik's Alive for Rose. These are all just example, and I'm just thankful, for all the people I have worked with. And it's literally, it's it's the team which keeps you going, and it's very important to find that. So yeah, be very, very sure of before making that decision, because it's not going to be an easy journey.
But thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Akash.
Such a pleasure to be and to talk to you.
Pleasure was all mine.
Mine, mine. And thank you so much.